We are in the thick of it, guys. It's official. T-minus 7 days till Christmas. I honestly can't believe it's a week away. Very exciting stuff. And of course, welcome back to the 12 days of Christmas. Day 5 here on the Disney Docket channel. And we got some exciting unboxings. I know I did 2 unboxings a couple days ago with Hot Rod Smokey and Junior Moon, but I am hyping that up now to 3 with these 3 XRS drag racers suggested by the Mustang Fan 13. Now you said all the drag racers or all the XRS cars. I can't quite do all of them in a short little 12 days of Christmas video, but how does 3 sound? I think that's pretty good. And maybe, just maybe, you'll see the other 3 down the road. And just maybe, you might see some mud racers soon as well. So thank you guys for tuning in to the 12 days of Christmas. We're just going to jump right in here by taking a look at the packaging for each of these, starting with McQueen. Now, I actually unboxed the drag racers long time ago, over the summer, and if you'd like to see that review, it's in the description below or the card suggestion pop-up in the top right-hand corner. And I just never got around to reviewing them, which I'm kind of ashamed about. I really wish I could have, because they are really cool cars here, as you can see, with the moving feature of the Pistons that you can even try in the package there by rolling the tires. And you can see how they move up and down. So very cool. I love the artwork for these guys. And I think it's a cool theme of drag racing. It's something I've always been interested in. I prefer them over mud racers, that's for sure. On the back here, you can see the XRS theme that they all fit under the Extreme Racing Series or Challenge. Extreme Racing Series is a high-octane competition that takes racing to the next level. The second event in the series, drag racing, features blistering acceleration and an all-out sprint to the finish line. Lightning McQueen and his friends will reach their ultimate top speeds, leaving nothing but smoke in their tracks as extreme drag racers. This reminds me of the XFL, if any of you guys know what that is. But yeah, cool cars here. You have Cruz Ramirez, Jackson Storm. I don't know why they call it Nitroid and why they call it Little Torquey Pistons there. Very upsetting. They don't even call it Little Torquey Pistons. They just call them Little Torquey. So Mattel has regressed into calling some of the more background racers by their sponsors now. They did this with the mud racers as well. And it is extremely frustrating because, you know, you guys know they released the next gen leak list in the XRS Mud Racing Series. We could have known the name for him months and many moons before it was revealed by Tomica just a couple of weeks ago to be George Newwin. But, you know, now they're just calling him by the sponsors. Mattel, come on, you suck. What are you doing over there? But at least they aren't calling these Dynaco and Igniter, because that would be no fun whatsoever. I love McQueen. McQueen is very exciting to me. I'm getting a little too excited about the drag racers here, but I really do like them. And so here's Cruz Ramirez. Now, as they mentioned, second event, or yeah, they call it an event. And so the third event will be Rocket Racers, which is a little strange. You know, I don't know how that's really a theme. Like, you have mud, yeah, off-road, you have drag racing, okay. Rocket? Like, what? Are we going to outer space? Like, what's going on? They look a little interesting, though. I'll give them a chance. Some of them have been leaked in, like, Mexico, I don't know, but hopefully they'll be released a little more broadly soon. So here you have Little Torquey Pistons, but his actual name is Eric Breaker. But honestly, who knows? To be completely honest with you guys know there was that big debate between Eric Breaker and Spikey Fillups when this guy was in the 2-pack with the Next Gen Synergy, and they kept flipping the names on us. Like, Mattel is a problem with names. We just need to admit that. So these are all the ones that were in the initial lineup, and then they added on Brick Yardley in the second wave, and there have yet to be any more since then, which is a little surprising and a little sad, because of the fact that the Mud Racers got actually they had 3 waves. They tacked on Speedy Comet, similarly to how they tacked on Brick Yardley, and then they released 4 more. It's absolutely ridiculous. I do think, was it Sheldon Shifter and Brian Spark have been shown as drag racers, but not as die-cast, as actual animations. But anyways, I'm going to be right back with these three bad boys opened up. So here they are all opened up and they're looking amazing. But before we get into the review, I had to say it. These are the smallest name tags I've ever seen in my entire life. So that's a little strange there. But yeah, I really am liking these drag racers. Like, really liking these guys way more than I thought I would. You know, I'm not a big fan of the expanded universe cars, especially now in the Cars 3 era. Of course, you know, before the Cars 3 era, we had those carbon racers, neon racers. Okay, they're cool. I like them. There are books for them, and that made it a little better. But now, especially introducing Fireball Beach, Thomasville was okay. Fireball Beach, I mean, come on, you're just adding sand to the cars. Drag racers now, they're actually pretty cool. I'm not so sure about the mud racers or the rocket racers, but drag racers, they're cool. I like them. Thanks, Mattel, for actually coming up with a cool series here. Coming up with a cool moving feature. I like the art on the cars as well. And art on cars really needs more than you think it does, guys. I really like that appeal. I mean, it gravitates to the kids or anybody, really, collectors, anybody. I have a hard time speaking about made for kids here on YouTube nowadays. But anyways, guys, getting into the review, there are no shorts for these ones nowadays, so I don't have any appearances to talk about, but we can, of course, visualize what this would look like. And that's part of the fun of it, you know, let our imaginations run wild. And we're going to start with my favorite Lightning McQueen here. So first of all, he does have a nice expression that does differ from his normal Cars 3 McQueen expression, which is great. See some diversity there in terms of facial expression, because you're not going to make the same face every single day. XRS logo there on the hood with the kind of orange, kind of looks like WWE style, you know, that kind of rough font, and then RS in white. And this is pretty similar to how it looked for the mud racers. And every time they do change the color to reflect that racer in particular. So you have 95 under the headlight there. You have the headlights themselves looking pretty good. They have now black outlines, which is interesting. And now, of course, what everybody's really interested in is the blown engine here that has the moving pistons here. So this is a plastic piece. Well, actually, all right, so the gray part is metal, which is a lot of metal. That's awesome that they made it metal. Of course, though, these clear parts and the yellow pistons themselves are plastic. But what else, honestly, would you expect them to be? So we're going to do a little test here, zoomed in on how McQueen looks when he's driving. So even if you're going slow, they're still going to bounce up in kind of a nice harmonious way. But yeah, very nice. I do like that this gray silver part here is metal. I mean, that makes it feel more like, you know, a collectible rather than something that you would find in a playset. Now moving on to the decals here on the side, you do have his typical lightning bolt. You have the red rims with the black Lightyear tires, which is what we're used to. The red looks a little more vibrant though. And to mention, something very important to mention is that the tires on the back are huge. They're ginormous, of course, because drag racers need that, and they all do. So that's cool to see a little different Lightyear tire, something bigger and better than what we're used to. But anyway, you have XRS here on the side in the same format that was up there, kind of blending into the flames here, which are toned down a bunch. I mean, here you can see you have not only the bolt, but it's coupled, well, it turns into flames, and then you have the dark ghost flames in the background. So here you don't really even have a bolt. I mean, you can kind of see it there, but it's very drowned out by XRS. No ghost flames, but then it turns into black, which is something we don't see too often on McQueen, and that's pretty interesting to me, especially the fact that the Rust-eze logo is black. I mean, you guys just never see that. That is so interesting and different to see, and that's why I really like McQueen, and he is my favorite in the series, just because how different he is. Now, another awesome part of these drag racers are the exhaust pipes with the flames here. Reminds me of, good old Boost, DJ Wingo, and Snot Rod with flames. Even, Shoot to the Roki and Miguel Camino, who were canceled, and then you had Nigel Gearsley and Carlo Veloso. So we've had a lot of cars with flames throughout the history of the diecast universe, and these are awesome. They have these huge silver exhaust pipes, 4 of them on each side, that burst into a fiery inferno, probably scorching a little bit of McQueen's side, but it really does look good on McQueen because of the fact that he does have the flames back there. The roof is pretty lacking, though. You just have the Lightning McQueen signature, as you always do, and a minimized 95. Now, for some reason, his windows are all grayed out. They are opaque, which is a little interesting. You don't see that too much on the Disney cars. I don't know if it's something specific for drag racing, but they did do that instead of making them translucent or transparent. So yeah, you could see like right through it all there. You should be able to see my finger on the other side, but I don't know. You can kind of see it, but here obviously you can't see through it. Another nice addition to these is the giant spoiler in the back. So one thing to note about McQueen's is that it doesn't have any grooves, whereas Cruz Ramirez's and Eric's do. So it's just completely flat, but you do have the little bolts there at the bottom. 95 on the side there with some more bolts. Those bolts on the sides, though, are painted on, whereas these are raised off the plastic. And on the back here, he's got that one parachute, because obviously in drag racing, you're going as hard and fast as you can, and then you need to stop real quick. And to stop such a heavy vehicle, you're going to need parachute to create some air resistance and slow you down. So, of course, you have Rust-eze medicated bumper ointment on the black background. Again, really cool. It reminds me of Burnt Lightning McQueen, who had the black background because he was so charred in the back. No 95 in the back, though. And another cool feature here is the wheelie, or the, what would technically allow for a wheelie to happen, like a little wheelie bar or whatever. 2 spare mini tires in the back here that would allow you to essentially drive like this, but that's not feasible with just the little plastic insert that they give you, but still pretty solid there. I mean, for only a couple dollars more, you get the exhaust pipes, the blown engine with that feature, spoiler, and the wheelie bar back here. So a lot of extra features. Even the tires, you can include those as well, only for a couple dollars more. So I am a big fan of these XRS racers. Now, I do want to compare them to a couple other McQueens real quick, those being the Carbon Lightning McQueen, Dragon Lightning McQueen, and World Grand Prix Lightning McQueen. All very different, but it does give you a little perspective there. So while I'm reviewing these here, let me know which drag racer is your favorite. It doesn't have to be just these 3. It could be Brick Yardley, Tim Treadless, or Jackson Storm as well. We're going to move on to Cruz Ramirez here. Now, first thing about her is that I love her expression. Now, I know they did use this expression with... Or actually, no, they didn't. Dang. I thought they did, but it's actually different on the XRS Cruz as well. So 2 different expressions for Cruz Ramirez in these XRS lines. So that's nice to see, because they certainly didn't do that really with these other 2. I mean, they're only slightly different. But yeah, love the expression looking off to the side there. Mouth is at a different position as well. I'm going to toss the Dynaco Cruz Ramirez back there for comparison. So now you have a darker gray, more gunmetal gray engine here that is also metal instead of the silver. And you have red pistons instead of the yellow, which red's an interesting color to go with her design. It's still pretty nice. So now you have the XRS logo there. The X is blue instead of orange. Got the typical headlights. She still has the metallic blue rims with the Lightyear text Of course, very small, being a next-gen tire. XRS on the side there to replace Dynaco, the dinosaur itself, and her number 51. Her contingency sponsors remain though, but they are very, very difficult to see. I mean, I couldn't even read it. They're so bright and clumped together. And they're pretty hard to see even on the normal version, but you can still make out that, you know, you have Piston Cup, Carbon Buster, Synergy, and Carbon Cyber. So it looks like Combustor, Synergy, and Carbon Cyber. They left out the Piston Cup. Well, that actually makes sense. That's a good call, because she would not have the Piston Cup in this secondary kind of event of the XRS. And that reminds me, I forgot to take a look at the contingency sponsors for McQueen here, being Octane Gain, Clutch Aid, and RPM. That's my bad. Can't believe I missed those. But anyway, getting back to Cruz here, you have the Flames, you have the giant tires in the back, only 2 exhaust pipes this time, and they're squared off instead of being rounded. And they match her engine, whereas McQueen's were silver, of course. These are the gunmetal gray. You have 51 there. And the interesting addition they made to Cruz here are these kind of blue drips or flames. They don't really look like flames to me. They look more like water droplets, which isn't too intimidating. So I'm not a big fan of them, but they're trying to kind of add some spice to her since they took away the dinosaur and all that. And of course they did kind of gray out the windows here as well. Spoiler has those grooves, black, 51, 51. There's the Dynaco logo. That's the only glimpse of it that we get on her. Instead of it being ginormous there in the back, it's moved to the side and switched colors. This is kind of like the inverse. Now she gets 2 parachutes. Is that saying that she is heavier than McQueen and therefore needs more air resistance to stop her? Or does it mean that she's going that much faster that she needs 2 parachutes? Who knows? She also has that wheelie bar back there. And of course, black though instead of the gunmetal gray because it's a part of the base. So these are made in China. I do want to point that out, not Thailand. So you do have those base or date stamps instead of the ones that we're more used to seeing now and that are easier to read, especially for me. I do know how to read these if I really think about it, but I can't really do that right now. So yeah, Cruz looking good. Of course, a couple more comparisons that I'd like to do with her. You have Rust-eze Cruz, and then you have just the normal Cruz. Cool stuff. And now we're going to move on to last but not least, Eric Breaker. 10 Bucks says I probably have been calling him by the wrong name the entire video. Watch him end up being Spikey. I don't know. Mattel completely just hurt me in the mind. They mentally abused me over the fact of switching the names on him and the Next Gen Synergy so much. But anyways, I'll throw the basic one in the background there. So he goes back to having that gunmetal gray engine. And if the predictions hold true, he should have gunmetal gray exhaust pipes. And he does. So same as Cruz there. The expression is almost identical to his normal release, unfortunately, even down to the mouth. You got those vents there and the headlights, which look very similar. So that's kind of upsetting. But the hood is quite a bit different. You have XRS there, the X in blue, the RS in yellow and orange, which is very strange because it's one of the only XRS cars that actually has RS filled in instead of just being white or RS. Whereas the X always changes colors, the RS tends to stay white. The only other case of that is on Jackson Storm where they made the RS blue. So interesting there. The R and the S being that yellow-orange gradient doesn't exactly fit with his paint scheme, but, you know, it looks all right. Here's a case where they actually changed the color of the rims to like a light cyan blue metallic, which actually looks really good instead of the black. I like it. So they removed his number 117. They removed the little Torquey piston there on the hood. They minimized the 117 on the roof. But what they didn't minimize is kind of this watery pattern or this kind of cracked desert pattern. I like to call it that because it looks like a cracked desert. You know, if you think about it, how like when the ground dries up and it starts to crack, that's what it kind of reminds me of. And they did kind of play that up here if you especially look on the roof. This almost looks like the cosmos. Like if you look into space, you can kind of see, you know, these are all like the stars. And I don't know, this looks like a web almost. Very interesting design up here, being a little metallic. They also grayed out the windows. There are your Synergy, Combustor, and Carbon Cyber. Got the flames. The big wheel. He's got the groove spoiler as well. 117 there on the side. Is there no mention of little Torquey Pistons at all? Wow, that's crazy. Because McQueen and Cruz both retain their sponsors in a smaller way, but it was still there. So you have 117, 2 parachutes in blue, the wheelie bar. And that is it for little Torquey, as Mattel calls him. Not so much little Torquey. See, that doesn't even make sense. Like, that just shows you that you cannot call them by their sponsors because there is no mention whatsoever of little Torquey Pistons on the XRS Eric Breaker here, which is a little surprising, but, you know, there's no need for that. Maybe he had a falling out with them. Who knows? I am pretty shocked about that, though, because it does appear that Brick Yardley retained his sponsor. Jackson Storm did, and Tim Trellis. They all have mentions of their sponsors. I just looked on them, and Eric does not. So very interesting. That's something to note right there. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. A little bit longer than a typical day of Christmas, but I thought that this is a very exciting, you know, triple unboxing. And actually, before I leave, I want to tack on a little bonus content showing off Snot Rod with Flames and some of the other flame cars in comparison to these guys. You know, when you're about to make a video, you're going through your collection, you're looking at all your cars, and you're thinking, what cars do I need for this review? I need a Lightning McQueen, I need a Cruz Ramirez, I think a Dragon McQueen would be cool to compare them to, but you don't think of everything. Like, that would really enhance a review, and I totally thought, I didn't think that Snot Rod with Flames and some of these other flame cars would be good for the review. Complete oversight, because they really do. I mean, if you think about it, Mattel has produced a lot of flames like this. And so I think it is important to do this comparison here. So we got them all lined up there. I'm just going to hover each of these over them. So Snot Rod with Flames, obviously being probably the most similar, tied with Miguel Camino. So Miguel's obviously aren't meant to happen. So they're not coming out of exhaust pipes like Snot Rods. Same thing with shoes. We're a little bit more dramatic. Looks like he's farting. Well, actually, doesn't look like he's farting, but some mega flameage right there. And booster, obviously not similar at all, being purple. But anyways, thank you guys again for watching this video. I do appreciate it. Already done with 5 days of Christmas. That is absolutely ridiculous. Oh, and also, here you have Drag Racer Mater, or Funny Car Mater. Funny cars and drag racers are quite similar. And then, you know, you can see he has the big wheels in the back as well. All right, that is enough. See, I remembered to get him. I pulled him initially, but I forgot to put him in the main review. But anyways, it's fine. I did it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for day 6. Bye now.